Hi, my name is Nariba Shepherd.
And I'm Justin Arnett Graham.
And this is Terms of Service.
Brr, 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 brr. Pew, pew, pew.
When will we get the button rights to just push the button and it do like...
Sorry about it.
It's okay.
Love you
I like it.
always.
I'll be our hype man. I'll do it. Even on the days when I feel sad.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, extremely, extremely valid.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, how are you?
Depressed. Just kidding. I mean, always depressed, but like it's a level 5, which is like regular. It's like standard living.
The way the world is, these are facts, valid. Yeah.
I just like ignore the internet as much as possible.
I mean, that's
we know
hard
too
to
much.
do with being on it constantly.
I know.
So,
well, to be fair, I've been really reading a lot of romance novels and stocking up on my Christmas rom-coms.
Cute.
Last night, I watched a movie called The Night, Knight, Before Christmas, and it involves time traveling.
God, I wish this was visually recorded because the way that my eyes are like just falling into the back of my fucking head right now.
Everyone has to be the opposite of someone else, you know?
You know what?
And that's just the way it be.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm just trying to live life every day and be appreciative of the days when I have the energy to give a shit. And, you know,
very valid.
I woke up at 5:30 in the morning and it wasn't painful. My face didn't hurt when I woke up. So I knew it was going to be a good day.
That's good.
Love that.
Yeah. You know?
Absolutely. Well, and the funny thing about that is I'm like sending these updates in the middle of the goddamn night.
Oh, I know.
And I was just like, good morning, y'all.
It was like 4:19, the first message, and you're like, I'm just like heading back from running errands for tomorrow, and I'm like, I wanted to repost it and be like, but did you take a nap though? But I didn't want to come for you.
But you messaged me that.
I know, but I didn't put it in the post.
That is entirely fine. And I had a singular response, which was right.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah. So I
can't say anything because I was so overwhelmed after leaving my apartment and doing groceries that I came back and sat on the couch and just took a 2.5-hour nap. And
Also
then I woke
valid.
up and like did
Also
all of my
valid.
meal prep for next week. And then I was like, okay, bitch, you have to go back to sleep because you wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So I feel well rested, but I know at 3 p.m. I will crash.
Oh, yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's going to be nap time.
Yeah, it's going to be nap time. So,
But how are you, though?
I'm good. I'm always trying to figure out ways to get better, you know? And it's not from a negative standpoint. It's just from an honesty standpoint. You know, I have talked quite a bit in regards to, you know, planning for the new year. Obviously, we're, you know, getting into the thick of the holidays, which I don't really give a shit about, but also shout out to y'all if you care.
I do.
I love that. I love.
And it has
love that
nothing
for
to
you.
do with Jesus. It's just
so,
magic.
Yep. Fast forward. Fast forward. And so I just want to ensure that everything that I have been doing and everything that I aim to continue to do is really anchored in positive energy and foresight and just like,
Look at you.
You know, growth, bitches. Because I mean, out here, you know, and just for those of you that are just joining in the Terms of Service
Universe,
fam, you know, you're tapping into this episode because you're like, oh, I'm curious and so on and so forth. I have a lot of grand ambitions for Terms of Service, but also I have a lot of grand ambitions and expectations for the industry. And this is not me trying to pitch something. It's just really ensuring that what we represent, which again is the narrative of the community, of the industry, is that it's really seen as a force to be reckoned with just amongst hospitality media and, counterculture media.
Yeah.
Just like if we're going to do it, like, let's do it, and unapologetically so, which is what we have been doing. And that is why I'm feeling great, because I think that I have just been like, fuck it, let's like do the damn thing.
Yes. I
'Cause
mean,
we
that
have
has
been
been your
doing the damn
energy
thing.
the whole time.
Yeah,
But you're like stepping into it and like wearing it.
I am.
Is it because Hassel? She hyped me up.
I mean, shout out to Hassel, absolutely.
Yes.
Shout out to my attorneys that are just
Ooh.
like, hey y'all, you actually have a phenomenal case study here, and go off, do your thing.
Yay.
Yeah. That does not
Listen.
mean that we will do it
I
without
know.
abandon,
Yeah.
but it's just like, okay,
I
because
just
we've been doing
wanna-
this for a minute.
I can't wait for the day where I meet these humans.
Oh, yes. So,
Because
and
I'm just like, shout out to you. You've had our backs. I don't know you. You're just
Yeah.
like out
They're
here
out here.
making sure we stay out of trouble. It's nice.
yeah.
Thank you.
No, for sure. Yeah. They have to sign off on everything.
I know.
Trust.
I was like talking about this at Thanksgiving. I was like, I need to meet the attorneys because I'm like, you have to listen to like raw recordings of us.
Yeah, that's what they get paid
and
for.
be
They're
like,
fine.
no, yes, no, you're fine. Like,
Yeah, that's
I'm
exactly what they
like,
get paid for.
who are you?
Attorneys. I was like, absolute fucking attorneys. However, this is not going to be a legal conversation. This is going to be a very euphoric conversation. I think that
Euphoric.
is why I am so zen, if you will. And we have our next guest. And I know this wonderful individual personally. And her and I have, experienced something like this prior, which we're not necessarily going to get into. But it's just really great to welcome her here, where it's our shit, the way that we do it, making sure that we're like gassing up the right shit. And, Jamie,
Yes.
welcome to the TOS fam.
Thank you so much for having me
Yes, I'm
in
just
your
like-
space.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. And we're so fucking excited to have you. You didn't give me the last name, but this is Jamie Chambers, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Hello.
yes. So I have always referred to Jamie as like the industry ingenue,
Okay.
because she's so multifaceted and just dope. But whatever, we're gonna get into all of that because I don't want to tell you about yourself. I will let you do it, obviously, because it's you. But most importantly, before we begin, what's your sign?
Okay.
And also give us the
chart.
all of it.
I will.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
ready.
Yes.
So I'm a Sagittarius sun.
Yes.
My
Okay.
birthday's December 9th. I'm a
Yes.
Cancer rising.
Love, yes.
I'm a Capricorn.
And also, happy
moon.
early birthday, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Sag season. You can feel it, the fire.
Yes.
It's amazing. So I'm a Capricorn moon as well. And then I'm a Scorpio Venus. So my love sign is in Scorpio.
How
And
is that?
It's,
Mine is in Pisces, so I can't judge you.
It's hard being water Venus signs. It's really interesting. I used to feel like my chart was so all over the place that I was like destined for failure. And then I realized that with like evolution, if you choose to grow and
Yes.
evolve into the best traits of your sign, you can become so powerful. And now I feel multifaceted as opposed to chaotic.
See,
Yes.
I could never do that intro justice. Okay, that
pulled-
was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I had to pull up my chart just for referencing
Yeah.
right now, but yes.
Yeah, and then I have a lot of Sagittarius, like my Mars, my Mercury. So how I communicate, how I respond to situations is very Sagittarian, which is the philosopher of the zodiac.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
are very curious,
Very thoughtful.
always searching for knowledge. We love different cultures and learning about humanity, and we think every piece of it is very special.
I have a Sagittarius moon, and I feel like, and I'm trying not to see it as a problem because other people have seen it as a problem. I am very sympathetic and empathetic. And sometimes my friends have a very hard time where I can have a relationship with someone and they might perceive it as problematic, like my friends, but I'm like, my thing is I'm able to separate whatever is going on from like whatever situation the person's in, and if they need help, I'm like, oh, I like understand that. And a lot of my friends do not understand that, and I'm like, it's my Sagittarius moon. It's just, it wants to learn and grow and help, but also like the dad jokes are intense and unrelenting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't use them here because you've got that cornered, Mr. Chairs. But like,
Yeah, I don't know. That's really funny you mentioned the dad jokes because I have so many up my sleeves and in my back pockets. Okay. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
No, but it'd be the C they love.
Oh God. Okay.
that's called
Gotcha.
the trap door dad joke because there is an obvious response, and then there is,
And then you dad them.
yes,
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I dadded
Dad
ya.
'em.
Yeah.
You gotta dad them.
Yeah. Hi, Dad.
I know that's weird. That seems like a Sagittarius thing, maybe, perhaps.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, damn. And normally I would hit you back with a dad joke, but I ain't got it. Right
you didn't
now.
see it coming.
I did not see it coming.
blindsided you.
I mean, it really did. So
The
you know,
accent too. I know
mean,
it's a
yeah,
lot.
'cause, I mean, you committed all the
commitment
way
was
through,
real, yes.
which I thought was absolutely
If
phenomenal.
you don't, it will fail.
Yes.
You know, you just got to go full dad.
Bring it with your
true.
whole chest.
Well, so it's not dad joke specific, but I realize that I have been leaning more and more into my. And this is
Gunkle phase?
no. And this is going to be a shout out to, Felton Edward Kaiser, because I've been leaning more into my daddery.
Oh, God.
And so because of that, we, part of the production team traveled to Toronto to see Hassel and, work on Not 9 to 5's wonderful, wonderful industry narrative called We Have Lived.
Yes.
And what's funny about that is I have always said there are two types of people at the airport. It's like the people that are frantic as hell, and then there are people like me. But then, who's just chill and be like, okay, well, like this is the bar that I'm gonna sit at and like chill out. Doesn't matter if I'm drinking or not. I'm just hanging out there.
Yeah.
And I realized that there has been such an evolution to where I have been like, before we go there, we need to ensure that the gate exists.
Yeah.
So I'm
Definitely.
Yes, and so just looking out the window and being like, that's the plane we're gonna get on. Okay, let's turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
okay. Duly noted. It's there.
And so, that is the level of daddery that I have been adjusting into.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about it.
Wait.
But yeah.
Have you seen the videos / memes of me not having a single thought because I'm with X at the airport?
This is a TikTok reference.
It's like, yeah, it's
Because my
Instagram
For You
and
page on TikTok is curated.
I know,
Okay?
I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's like, so
It's
it's the
every video's a hit.
Yeah.
I still get Ocean
hit
Gate.
after hit after hit.
I
after
mean,
hit.
I still get Ocean Gate shit, and I was
Oh
like,
my
that was
God.
mine. I mean,
I
R.I.P.
love that era. I'm
R.I.P.
sorry.
But I mean,
I literally have
Rest in
no idea
pieces.
what you all are talking
gone.
about.
Sorry.
Oh,
What do you mean?
that thing. I didn't know that's what it was called. I thought it was just like that thing that exploded. R.I.P.
Imploded, babe.
Imploded. My bad.
Gone.
No, I was
Titanic.
Smush.
The Titanic sank on my birthday, April 15th. Fun
Also,
fact.
the Titanic has been out here just claiming fools.
Yeah.
So
The
yeah.
for a
rich.
time.
the rich are drowning. Don't
Well,
go buy
we
the
were like-
Titanic
Because
if
I
you
want to
have
see
$1 billion.
it. Exactly, because I want to go see it. Yeah, I want to go
You
see
ain't
it.
coming back.
Yeah.
We're not
You know,
eating the rich.
But also, we
The
have talked
Titanic
about
is.
this. We have talked about this. Yes, we've talked about this in the past, to where there are certain things with being queer, minority, whatever. But I just
don't
credit it with being black. Okay, and so there are just things that you feel within the deep recesses of your soul
That you
that
just
you know
shouldn't
that
do.
it's not for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
The ocean, a long
Not-
time ago, not
no.
for us. We learned that lesson.
Listen.
Whenever someone's like, let's go on a cruise, I'm like, first of all, you need to watch the South Park episode about cruises. Start there. Oh, it's.
Yes. No. Absolutely.
And then secondly, watch the fucking COVID documentary about cruise liners in the beginning. Terrifying.
Yeah.
But also slave ships.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just saying.
let's bring it
put
back
out
to the
there.
OGs.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm like, I can't.
But it's
I
like the
can't do it.
collective unconscious of like these traumatic experiences
Yes.
being passed down from generation to
Right.
generation.
And we're just like, that is not for
You're like,
us.
no.
No.
Danger zone.
Yes.
Danger zone. High level
not-
danger zone.
Do not go.
Yes.
I know how to
Do not
swim
disturb.
enough.
Do not touch.
Yeah. I know how to swim
The
enough
stove
to
is
like
hot.
maybe save my life. But I can't be out there for an hour or two.
Well, have you heard of thalassophobia? Is the fear of open water in the ocean, and it is terrifying.
I have
and
that.
I do not like it.
As soon
No.
as my feet
Like,
can't touch the bottom,
no
even in
thanks.
a pool, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
like
no.
that's not for me.
It's freaky.
yeah.
And
And we don't know what's down there.
That
Aliens.
reminds me of the
Aliens.
craziest thing.
okay.
That reminds me of the
Not
craziest thing. Oh, we're not going to do it.
Yes,
we're
yeah,
not going to do it. But it reminds me of the craziest thing that I saw on a very popular social media app. And it was the reenactment of, you know, a very particular scene in Titanic.
Just cats.
And I was just like, let me tell you something right now. I could never be floating like that. No. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And Jamie, I'll send it to you. Nariba, I'll also
Yep.
send it to you because it's iconic and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Also low-key sad because that was a very real thing.
Yeah.
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 But, you know, yeah. I won't take a bath.
I
I
don't
will
like sitting
shower.
in my own
Well, also that.
Yes. Sloth.
sludge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
The only
They're like, but there's
reason-
bubbles around
Maybe
you.
that
And I was like,
maybe that
No.
makes me a bad witch, but I don't like the baths.
The only time that I have like
don't like
done baths is because my back is so fucked up. I need to soak in Epsom salt.
Yeah.
Or specifically for cleansing.
Yeah.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, it's too much.
It is
Although
too much.
in
Well,
It's
Trinidad,
it's a whole event. It's like a whole thing, getting it together.
in
however,
Trinidad,
it's
not
marketed
necessarily a
so
bath.
well.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
the bath market is booming.
Yeah.
Booming. Bath bombs.
Bath
babe.
salts.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
People are using it. Whatever way.
And they have like
any way they can.
CBD bath salts
Yeah.
now, and I'm like,
Ooh.
yes, but also someone out there
Is that for me?
Yeah, no.
No, I've bought some like some bath salts that have like essential oils and herbs in them, and I just have never used them. Also, my cats both hang out in the bathtub because they're freaks, and it's like I don't have time
To
be
clean it
like
in between.
vacuuming my bathtub
Right.
or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what? That's their
That's
place
for you.
now.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
Well, this has been a wonderful introduction. Absolutely
I was
phenomenal.
gonna be like, my
introduction.
cats just scream. Well, my younger cat just screams at me if I shower with the door open.
Yeah.
So I have to close the door because she thinks that I'm dying in there the entire time.
Get out of the water.
She's like, oh my! She's like freaking
You're
out,
not
and
built
I'm
for
like,
that.
I can't. I have to close the door, or else it stresses me out.
Yeah, that sounds
And I don't
awful.
know why this happened. If she was a Virgo, I would understand.
What is she?
She's a Pisces.
Weird.
I know. Oh my god, I accurately
Pisces are
guessed.
not weird.
No, I mean it's weird because Pisces love water,
Yeah,
but she's
but
a
she's
cat.
like screaming at me the entire time. Although
Interesting.
I,
She's
Also,
like- She's like, well, you're never going to come back.
yeah,
Well, this is funny because we're so going to get into this.
yes,
So, I would like to redirect us onto the path of this lovely conversation. And before we go much further, Jamie, talk to us a little bit about your background, babe.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I've been in the restaurant or / service industry since I was 15. I'm turning 32 in a couple weeks.
And it's going to be happy belated birthday once this drops.
Airs. Yes. So I will be 32 when this drops. And I am also currently in school.
But where did you start?
Oh, okay.
I mean, you don't have to call them out.
Big fancy restaurant came to Des Plaines called Cheeseburger in Paradise. And my parents said if
Isn't that a song?
Yes, it's Jimmy Buffett's restaurant based off of his song.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. They played Cheeseburger in Paradise on the hour, every hour.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not kidding. And so imagine like little punk rocker, angry goth me becoming a hostess at 15, and I had to wear khaki pants. I had to wear Easter pastel polos from Aeropostale, and I had to have white shoes and white socks, and I was miserable.
Yeah.
I've curated this entire aesthetic, and I have to throw it out the window.
Yeah, I
for
really
work.
felt like I was being punished, and I didn't work there very long. We found a box of 40 ounces outside of the Walgreens on our way home from school one day. It was a Thursday, and I said, today I quit my job so I can drink 40s with my friends behind the Walgreens. And so that's what happened.
Yeah.
So then I became a barista, and I worked at Caribou Coffee for a long time. I worked downtown.
Are they still around?
They aren't, really. I think there's like 2 left, but they still sell their coffee. But I got laid off at the age of like, I think I was 20 years old. I worked there through my first stint in college. I worked at the one on LaSalle and Madison in the Northern Trust building.
Okay.
That's a whole other thing. And then I ended up working in Rolling Meadows because I moved back home to go to Oakton Community College to go to school for cheaper than I was previously, blah, blah, blah.
As is tradition.
And then we all got laid off. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what do I do? And my friend at the time was working at this, I like to call them restaurants, you know, like
the fuck?
Hooters, Tilted Kilt.
Oh,
yeah.
What is Tilted Kilt?
It's
they wear little plaid outfits.
Is it
Scottish
giving Britney Spears
themed? Yeah, a little bit like schoolgirl. Yeah. There's also Twin Peaks. That's like a mountain boob themed restaurant.
Oh, I thought it was like Twin Peaks the show. Like
I
weird.
I fucking wish because I would have started there and never left. But then I worked at a place called Fox and Hound, and so it was kind of like there was more. It was more like I wouldn't like rock and roll, I guess, like beer, rock and roll, booty
Were they
shorts.
looking for rock stars?
Yeah. I'm sure they were to do all their work. Yeah. So I ended up getting a serving job, and it was my first serving, like waiting tables job. And then that launched me into working. I moved to Chicago, and then I was in sushi for a long time, did a lot with sushi. I worked at Girl on the Go for a year as a food runner. Then I moved to Green Street Smoked Meats and High Five Ramen in Sawada.
Oh, I never knew
in that building. Yeah, so I started as a cashier. I was scooping potatoes, and like 6 months later, I was bartending, and then 2 months or even like a month later, I was
like,
managing.
Damn, you're really good at that.
Yeah, I just like boom, boom, boom. But you know, the mid 20-year-olds are the ones that are like, I want to manage. This is going to be a great opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God.
Yes.
I'm being pulled from every direction.
You're being
and
hazed.
I have to do the dirty work. And no one,
Heavy.
the people above me don't really respect me. The people below me, you're trying to gain respect. And as a young woman, that was difficult. But then I've just like kind of don't know. I got my like service well chops at the Warbler up north. Really liked working there. Then I wanted to get back into like living in Logan because I felt very like separated when I was up there.
Listen, I live in Rogers Park and I fucking love it.
It's like, it's a nice retreat. So
it's away from everyone and everything.
And I liked that for a few years.
Yeah.
And then
also
I was like okay, I want to get back.
But it also feels like you leave.
Yeah, it was like living in the suburbs a little bit, but not.
I'll take it.
Yeah. And it's like, I see the appeal.
I just don't like people and I don't like doing things. And whenever I'm in a neighborhood where things are around
and you run into people,
expect you to do shit.
Yeah. And then running into people that are not your friends and they're more like acquaintances and then having to be like, you know, should I acknowledge them? Should I ignore them? And like, it's just weird. It's just weird. And it's nice to be anonymous. So I get it.
I want to shout out to all of the people that I have seen and have come across and I have acted very brand new because that is a very real thing. It does not mean that I don't adore and enjoy you. It just means that I simply did not have the capacity at that moment.
Yeah.
And as I become older, it's lacking.
You are the walking embodiment of Keke Palmer. Sorry to this man.
Sorry to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Everyone.
It's not your fault. You're just like doing.
I can't.
Well,
and
it's exhausting.
It's mentally taxing.
It's like you're getting pulled a little, and people want a piece of you. Like when you're social and like you're friendly or outgoing or you have a shine to you, people really want a piece of it. And
I have a shine, babe?
You both have.
Bitch,
absolutely.
the shining, we are shine.
We're shining right now.
Yeah, we are shining right now.
I'm
Fair.
speaking to you with my mind. No.
But I was like, I feel glow.
But like
I
people,
feel like I'm glowing.
People want that, and then it's like it. You feel them draining you.
Yes.
And we have this term, a punisher, and that's someone who punishes you for engaging with them. And they won't let you speak, or they like will follow you around. And I mean, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to be like, hey, it's really good to see you. I am here with my friends tonight, so we're actually going to ask you to leave. Our area.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be mean, but I did come here for another reason. Have a wonderful night.
Yes.
And it's hard and it's awkward, but you gotta do it.
But also it's setting boundaries, though.
Absolutely.
But that's also big Sagittarius energy.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just like, because I struggle all the time where my brain is like, you could just be like, nah, dog. Just say no. But the Virgo rising in me and my Aries sun is like, let's be friends.
Yeah,
and
or like, I don't want to be hurtful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't understand. When someone says like an Aries is baby, it's because I have
Shout
a
out
lot
to
of
Yo.
Yes. I feel like if I want to say something, I will say it, but I can't stick up for myself in very specific situations. Like, for example, got in a car accident, like the ride share sent over insurance information, but I am very bad at advocating for myself. So like
sign.
I'm not signing any
goddamn
I
thing.
listened to you when you told me that.
Yeah.
But,
Dolores got you.
but
Hi,
like,
Mom.
the idea of having to like interact with insurance company and like the people at the hospital and stuff gives me so much anxiety. I would rather not do it, and that's the moments where I need someone to help me advocate for myself.
Sure.
But in a regular day-to-day setting, I will go balls deep in advocating for everyone and everything.
Well, and also I feel like that's such a unique dichotomy there, right? Because the advocacy on behalf of others is somehow more empowering than actually practicing the advocacy for yourself.
Yeah.
And that is something that I wholeheartedly believe that countless individuals within the industry actually have to deal with, because like, you know, they see someone getting talked to any sort of type of way, it's wild to them. It's just like, no. But then on the opposite side of the coin, it's just like they would allow themselves to be on the other end of it.
Like the receiving end of that.
And just like it's just like, so what do we think is missing there?
Well, and I think this is a really common phenomenon. And I think that I can relate. For when I was growing up, I was very quick to protect others from bullies. But then when I got bullied, I crumbled. And for something, I was so afraid of other people unless I was not the target.
Yeah.
And so not being the target gives you this illusion of an advantage, that you are not the one that is weak, or you are not the one that is the prey, so to speak, and you're now a bystander. So you need to do something, you need to step in. And it's hard to advocate for yourself because first of all, it makes you feel very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Second of all, you have to accept that right now there's a power shift, and you have to like assert, I wouldn't say dominance, but you have to assert that, you know, you are on an equal level with this person, and that takes effort, and they already see you as something less, which is why they treated you that way. So it's kind of like you're trying to like gather that power back in the same moment that you're trying to react in an appropriate way. Yeah. And it's difficult, and it takes practice. And that's why, like, literally, I know this sounds so goofy, but doing that in the mirror and seeing yourself be like, don't talk to me like that. And practicing it in small instances, like even when you're at the grocery store, and like there's a difference between being aggressive and assertive.
Absolutely.
And there's also a difference between having a conversation and a confrontation. So if you can kind of like formulate that in a way where you're being assertive and opening a conversation with someone, it's going to be a lot more successful for you than if you are being aggressive and confrontational and feeling attacked and showing that it got to you, because bullies love that. That's why they're doing it in the first place. So I guess first things first, stay calm. You are not weak. This person has just, they have misread you, and they need to know who you are now, and that you are not the person. I don't know. It's again, like, easier said than done.
Yeah. And it's also hard, I think, for like specifically AFAB people to do that, because we are raised in such a way that we have to be accommodating, and it takes so much work to get out of that, and then we have to go back
it's an
into
element
it.
of privilege.
And it's like, I'm good at standing up for myself in like day-to-day things when it comes for advocating to myself at work, but as soon as I'm in a position to interact with people in a field that I do not understand, I cannot fake it. I cannot pretend to know that someone might be trying to fuck me over. Like if I went to a car dealership and they were trying to sell me a lemon, I wouldn't know. Yeah. So I would bring someone with me. The same way as like, if I'm going to the emergency room, I'm bringing someone with me who knows how to communicate with the staff. Yeah. Because I want, especially as like a woman of color, going into a hospital and people not listening to you, because medical books also are like, well, Black people don't feel pain in the same way, or like,
like crazy outrage.
Or like when people who are of Asian descent complain of like hip pains, they rule out like the number one thing, because it presents differently in people of Asian descent. It's like common, whereas in white people it's not. And like so many people have lost their lives because books are not updated from when they came out, whenever the fuck. Yeah. So medical shit scares me. Absolutely. And I have a lot of anxiety around that, and it's hard. So like, everyone like do research before you go into any hospitals and
also,
interact with
that's
people.
Extremely cultural, and obviously it has residual effects across the board, right? And that's kind of one of the things that I have been thinking about in regards to this conversation. It's just like, so how do we proactively handle the cultural narrative while supporting such a diverse topic, because we're also going to talk very, very soon about your Jamie, your connection to astrology and passion there, but then also tarot, and also your journey, your journey with sobriety and how that looks like with your partner. And I mean, there's so much that we're gonna discuss here, but I also think that it's extremely important for people to understand that their socioeconomic, socio-placement element is a extremely valid portion of this conversation, of your experience, and of this conversation, and to really empower people to allow themselves to find themselves within the context of this narrative, and not feel as if like, well, they're not talking to me. It's like we're essentially talking to everyone. I mean, I have dealt with feelings of inadequacy and ways of advocating for myself, but also I've been extremely fortunate to where it's just like, one, it's financial, two, it's because of my trajectory within the industry, three, it's because also I'm just a loudmouth bitch.
Yes.
I was just like, because I'm just like, this isn't good enough.
Yeah, like this isn't
this
right.
Is not it.
This could be better.
Exactly.
What the fuck are we doing?
Right. But then also on top of that, it's not even the fact that it's not good enough. I was like, this shit isn't even good.
Yeah.
It's
like
not good.
It needs to be
that
baseline. Like baseline. Like this is trash. And yet we're trying to build a tower on such a muddy foundation. That is wild to me.
And this is the exact speech he gave himself when he came up with the idea for Biko.
Valid.
You're like, I can do this better, and I'm going to.
Well, yeah, but also I just really believed that, when Biko was in its infancy and I was trying to figure all this shit out and just like blah, 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 I was just like, I'm like, I'm bored. And I was like, if I'm bored with how brands are, trying to activate community. I'm feeling as if there's so many people left out in regards to what they think culture looks like within the markets that they're operational.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is not it. And this was
eons ago,
decade ago. And I mean, it's been a very steady climb. And I mean, part of the successes of Biko is because we have the portfolio to back it up, to be like, yo, this isn't a trend. But it's not a trend. It's not a fad. It's just like the people are what matters, and you are responsible to the will of the people. I don't care what you're selling, what you're trying to place, what you're trying to do. If you don't care about the actual consumer, then you've already lost.
Yeah.
And that is the exact same way that I feel about the industry. If you don't care about the laborers, if you do not care about the guest on the same capacity in which you are treating people that you commodify, then we don't have anything to talk about.
Nope.
We don't have anything to talk about because we have nothing in common, because it's literally like speaking to a fucking brick wall.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't want to hear the roundabout reasons as to why X, Y, and Z will not work because it disrupts your current formula. Exactly. But I was like, your formula is what has been detrimental to the systemic issues in the industry, hands fucking down.
Yeah.
And I'm done with my rant. Jamie.
I appreciate your rant.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that most of the institutions in the United States are archaic, and they are built to work against people of color.
Oh.
And we know that. And I mean, if you're paying attention, you know that. If you have friends that are not just white, you know that, and you see it. And I think that this brings me to tarot. There's a card, the Tower card. And when you get that card, it can be very scary because it means something abrupt is coming that's going to shake the foundations. But the beautiful thing about the Tower card is that things need to be completely and utterly destroyed so that you can build a perfect foundation or a much better foundation and build up from there. Because like you said, building a foundation on mud, you're just going to sink.
Right.
It'll never be stable. And so I feel like the United States right now, it is in its age of Aquarius and Pluto return, which is when Rome fell and the Ottoman Empire also fell during its Pluto return. We are in the shits right now.
We are in the shits. That's what I was
Things
saying.
are breaking down. We can see them. And in our lifetime, I think this will be the end of the United States as a world power.
It's going to be the institutional breakdown.
And it's
America.
happening.
Yes.
And we have smart, diligent people who don't just see people based on ethnicities or their national origin. We see them as we are all the human species.
Yes.
And we need to make things equitable and fair. And how it's built is fucking not.
Yeah.
And it's built on the backs of the people that are supporting these institutions. And it's just got to go. So that being said, there's a lot. The United States has a birthday, July 4th, 1776. So we know, and there's a time when they signed it into existence. And so the United States has a birth chart just like everyone else does. And it's very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I'm doing when I go home.
So
Right.
there's shit going down. I have some
Yes.
predictions coming up just by looking at Biden's chart and also at Kamala's chart.
Okay.
Yes,
so
yes,
so
yes,
we're
yes.
going to get into
Yeah.
all of this off mic because
Okay.
that is phenomenal. But then, yes.
I was going to say
Go-
before we get further into this, I have not. The last time I read cards was in, I want to say March, and the last time before that had been like a year and a half.
Yeah.
I am willfully ignoring my cards right now because I feel like my spirit guides have like messages for me and I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
And so, and if I read cards for other people, the first like set that I pull out are always for me.
Yes.
And
you
so
know
I've
right
just-
away, you're
yes.
like, ugh.
And I've just been like
Leave me alone.
pushing it away, but that's family trauma.
Yeah.
Like, and people leaning too much on not reality. They want answers, but are unwilling to look at what's happening in real time.
Yeah.
And so I'm fighting the battle between my energies and my cards and being in the moment and experiencing things as they go instead of like allowing my judgment to be clouded by. And for me, I think it all stems back to one particular reading that I had like 5-ish years ago. And I'm just like, I feel like I let it get in the way of a lot of choices that were coming up. And I'm trying to like separate myself from that energy a little bit. But I feel the return of it coming back. Like I've randomly been sleeping with my cards like under my pillow sometimes just to clear the
To
energy
connect,
in
yeah.
case I decided. But it still feels like I'm on the separation
Yeah.
side of my tarot's
So,
reading.
so then I wonder, and I think that that's absolutely phenomenal. I really wonder how the journey has been through, zodiac, tarot, and sobriety. I mean, like, do you feel like there's any sort of alignment or connection throughout in that regard?
100%. So I first got my tarot cards read when I was 15, or no, maybe I was like 13 years old. We went up, my mom brought me up to Saugatuck, Michigan with one of her friends, and we went to...
The gays love it there.
Yeah, and my tarot reader, Dave, is gay. He was a...
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, Dave Horowitz. I'm still trying to track him down, so Dave, if you hear this, please hit me up. We need to talk. Yeah. I actually just went up to Saugatuck looking for him, but I think he's back in Chicago. So he actually was...
Two trains passing in the night.
Exactly. Yeah. So irritating, but I'm going to find him.
Yes.
But he was in the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. He was married to a woman and had kids. And then he came out and they stayed friends. And he's like, I want to do astrology and tarot reading. So he moved up to Saugatuck and he had this like really cute retro 1950s style trailer that he worked out of, and he had a computer from like the 80s that like made these grinding noises, and it like was like and it printed out and it printed out the
for those
star
that know,
charts.
no.
Yeah. So. And so he did my first tarot reading, and so he has a background in psychology as well. And so I am going to school for my bachelor's in psychology right now. And so I'm learning a lot about humans, how they work, how tarot interacts with our subconscious, with our conscious, and how it affects decisions we make, and how we can use it to the best of our advantage instead of letting it, kind of halt us sometimes, because that can happen.
Yes.
And he was the first person who introduced the word codependent to me. And he recommended a book. I believe it's called Codependent No More or Codependency in Me, one of those. And he also recommended a book to me when I was 13 called Why My Life Sucks and What I Can Do About It. And it's a very thin book. But he introduced these concepts to me.
That's a very short journey.
Yeah. I mean, right? Yeah. Like, I'm only 13, but why does everything suck?
Right.
And, he told me
did
that
what no one else told us.
Yeah, and I had been in therapy, and I had been diagnosed with depression and anxiety and ADHD. And my parents were like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with her. And my mom was like, let's go see a fucking tarot reader. And I was like, hell yeah, Mom. And so she was really into stuff like that. I've always been into esotericism. I really like analyzing people. So of course, horoscopes, zodiacs, like that. It's helpful. It helps you break down these really intricate little parts of human personalities, and et cetera. So he told me I was going to struggle with an alcohol addiction as an adult. And I was like, no way. A tarot reader's telling you this. You're like, yeah, whatever. And I ended up going to see Tarot Dave pretty much every year till my early 20s. And he saved my life more than once. But he pulled some cards, and then I didn't know what he was pulling. When I do my readings, I kind of explain why I'm telling people what I'm telling them based on the cards, because I don't want them to think that I'm a grifter and I'm just making shit up.
Yes.
Because people do that, and that's why a lot of people don't trust tarot readers.
110.
Especially in like how we're perceived, or like how we're shown in the media.
And if you're a younger person too, I just I always want to make sure that, because I don't want to reach for anything. I don't want to stab in the dark at anything or guess anything. I started reading cards because I looked at it as statistics, because I went to school for human development. So I'm very interested in why we are the way that we are. And I took a statistics class, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And that's how I got into reading tarot cards, because I'm like, there's a statistical number of each individual card having a meaning to someone. And the more I did it, and especially when I got better at understanding what cards mean certain things, I realized that I'm this is more than just a thing. And when I started harnessing the trust of my gut,
your intuition,
and my ability to read people and read a situation, I will never be that girl that's in a place that she shouldn't be. As soon as I walk in and I feel no, this energy is weird, I'm out.
And statistically, there's so many times I've done readings where it is so hyper specific to the person. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's so general. It's just like zodiacs. And I'm like, well,
that came from a collection of information.
That's
though.
okay if you think that, but when you'd like to get a reading, if you would like one, we'll do it and you'll see what happens. But so Tarot Dave pulled these cards and he goes, you're hanging out with 2 boys. I was 17. You're hanging out with 2 boys you should not be hanging out with. You don't even really like them. I don't think they really like you either. They're dangerous. And I was hanging out with 2 boys in high school. My house had flooded from Hurricane Katrina, but we lived on the Des Plaines River, so we lost our whole house, 2 cars, a motorcycle.
Damn.
I was living in a hotel with my parents. I lost all of my clothes, everything. And so I had to get leggings and wife beaters and flip-flops from Discovery. And when you're 17, that's everything.
Yeah. Yes.
And not having the stuff to do my hair and just not having makeup, like it just sucked. And I was hanging out with these 2 guys who they were constantly getting in trouble. They were smoking a lot of weed and I was having panic attacks with them quite often. And that was, I had started getting panic attacks when I was young, but I got them under control and I wasn't listening to myself. And David's like, you don't even want to really be around them. You're just lonely. And that's that codependency again. You need to just let them go. Just do it. Don't even think about it. And I was like, okay, fine. Say no more. And I listened and I stopped hanging out with them. And one is dead from a heroin overdose.
Yep.
And the other one's highly addicted. And he saw that and I saw this path. I could either go one way or the other. I lost everything and I could either let it make me become a victim or I could not allow myself to be victimized.
Yes.
And I wore my ugly, shitty clothes to school and I had no friends for a period of time. Like I had my close girlfriends, but no one in my classes. I stopped having people to just hang out with and I just focused on myself. And then that same year, I ended up getting leadership awards. I ended up getting scholarships to college. I turned my life around because David was like, you're going down the wrong fucking path, babe. I see it for you. Fix your shit. So I did. And that was really helpful. That was more helpful than any therapist I had seen. And I go to therapy now with a therapist, not
There's
a tarot
such a
reader.
strength in that, though.
Yeah.
It's like I really wonder, what would you say to individuals that kind of come to that crossroad? Because it's a lonely decision. And yes, we're gonna move into sobriety that momentarily, but I mean that is a very lonely decision.
And I tell people this all the time: take the high road, even if it's difficult. Push yourself to be lonely, be uncomfortable, because you know that you are relying on these people that you don't like, or they don't like you, or it's abusive. And it's because it's comforting in some way.
Listen,
it's what you know.
I have a family member, I'm going to leave it at family member, who is in a relationship with someone who none of us agree with. And it's to the point where she does not talk to us about him. But she is also part of the reason that I have such a hard time now with reading cards and like listening to my dreams and stuff like that, because there have been so many times where I've done readings for her and my sister-in-law has done readings for her, and she just does not listen. And I think that's why I'm struggling so much with it, because I'm like, I cannot use this as a crutch in the same way that she has been doing that. And I will say, I've also had the experience of a tarot reading saving my life, in the sense of my sister-in-law had one of our friends do a reading for me. I wasn't there. And she sent me the entire recording. And there was a part of it where it was like Reba has an addictive personality, but in a very specific way, where she'll like be into something or do something for like a period of time, and as soon as she's done, she's done. And I had never thought of it in that way before, but that is what my personality is like. I will do something to within an inch of my life, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good now.
I completed this. Yeah,
yes,
I'm done.
And that's why if I like have a person, situation, a place come up for me where it feels like it's not done, I will continue to engage in that situation until it is done. And then I'm like, okay, this is a lesson that I have taken from this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is something that is my personal situation. And I never want to say that to people who are struggling with addiction, because it doesn't look the same for everyone. And I have this insane ability to just be like, deuces and cut and run. But not everyone has that.
No, they don't.
And that's what needs to be understood.
That's also another element of privilege that knows like no race, gender, or any sort of like socioeconomic status. And I'm sitting here and like, you know, I have a lot of emotions, I have a lot of feelings, I have a lot of thoughts.
It's very Aquarius of you.
I'm vibing out right now.
Yeah.
But so I really wonder, you know, how is this in practice and your journey? Because we're talking to you, Jamie, at a very specific, you know, kind of turning point of your life. But then also and please forgive me for saying this, but like it was substantially a while ago. Right? So I'm trying to make sure that we paint a very clear picture in regards of, you know, any sort of navigations that you had after having that information, because behavior, you know, accountability, accessibility, you know, is another factor as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I fell off with the tarot readings and I wasn't doing any of that stuff myself for all of my 20s. And I always thought with
it was
drinking.
Would you say it was like a lack of interest, or it just?
I became a little bit of a nihilist for a while. I was very atheist. I had gotten a deck of tarot cards when I was younger, and it was daunting. There's 78 cards in a deck.
Yep.
The reversals have meanings. There's so much symbolism in it. It is. Like, I remember looking at them and just being like, this is too much.
Yes.
And putting them back.
And you're also not supposed to be under the influence of any substance realistically while reading them. Which is what like all of the books and stuff tell you. But as someone from the West Indies, that's not always necessarily true if you're practicing like obia and stuff like that. Part of that is the consumption of alcohol or very specific like hallucinogenics. But it's used as a tool versus as a
coping
coping
mechanism.
mechanism.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking
Or
fine
escapism.
line
Yeah.
to like be dangling when you are in this industry.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
accessibility is so
escapism
much.
is a really, really great, you know, kind of synopsis, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, for the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I was for sure trying to escape something.
Yeah, not only for the industry, but most importantly, for you independently, myself independently. I mean, I'm not I'm not sober. I've talked about this, but I try as much as I can to
be mindful.
Yeah, to practice mindful drinking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, I'm not a young buck, you know. Don't let this skincare fool you, honey.
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm
You
out
do be
here.
looking like you drink water.
I bet, you know what? And it's just like, you know, I was like,
Yeah.
you know, a shot of water per day, you know, but like that discipline and that guidance is not supplied in a way that it actually feels tangible.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I never thought I could become sober. I've been drinking since I was 15, drinking regularly, and I never thought I had a problem because it was social. I didn't wake up at 9 a.m. and crack open a beer.
Yeah.
And I knew people that did that. I also could go days without drinking,
Yes.
weeks even. But I was binge drinking, and it was definitely
And the time
to
that you
conquer
weren't
social
drinking,
anxiety.
the time that you weren't drinking is because you were recovering from drinking.
Or like just taking time off on purpose. It wasn't just like, oh, it's not a thought in my mind. I would be like, okay, it almost felt like I was punishing myself and
Because you
for
probably
drinking
had,
so
like,
much.
The memory of this being something that you're going to struggle with from that reading. So it's like the information of knowing like you will struggle with alcoholism and then drinking and trying to be like, I am in control of this. And it's
Yes.
not going to get that way. That also sort of works against you.
Oh, yeah. I really shoved that information down
Just-
and was like, I'm in the restaurant industry. I am outgoing and I feel sexy and I'm like so funny and I've made so many friends while drinking, and it was such a big part of my personality. And as a bartender too, like I love bartending, I love making drinks, I still do.
Yeah.
I still straw taste my dealer's choices drinks that I make to make sure they taste good,
Are balanced,
and that
yeah.
doesn't trigger me, but
Yes.
other people it might.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing with sobriety is that you don't have to have all these rules for yourself. You find what works, but like a straw taste of a cocktail doesn't trigger me. It doesn't get me drunk, and I need it to do my job well.
Yes.
So I do that. But I realized, you know, I am drinking all the time. I'm hungover. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm hungover like every day.
I cannot do that.
And I was like, I am killing my body.
Right.
And I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I am poisoning myself.
So
And it was
real.
just too much. And the hangovers, the migraines, like, so I didn't like pick up a tarot deck again until the pandemic. My friend had gotten me a deck like the year before the pandemic, and it had just sat in my room, and I had time. And I also started working at Sideshow Gallery, which is an amazing witch store in Chicago, but it's also like they have oddities, antiques. It's so fucking cool. It literally looks like a museum inside, and it's so awesome. It's owned by these two women that are besties who met in the early 90s, working at like Urban Outfitters together. And they also own Revolution. Well, Sherry, one of the owners, owns Revolution Tattoo next door with her husband, Omar. And then
Sick.
Anna is her best friend that also owns Sideshow with her. But Anna, she started
Support
pulling
them.
cards. Yeah, they're amazing. She started pulling cards for me. And then, you know, she became my mentor in that and just encouraged me to play around with them more. And I was getting a lot of messages about my overconsumption. And it was very
Even when you were trying to
Clear
do
cut.
readings for other people?
no,
or just while you were learning?
in the
relearning?
beginning, because I was very careful about reading for other people. I took my time. I
Same.
wanted to be very conscious about that because I know it's a delicate subject. I wanted to do it right. And I offered readings for free when I started out. And I had my books with me. I had my notes with me, which helped me a lot. And then I ended up doing tarot reading at Riot Fest with Sideshow in the VIP tent. And that was like fucking tarot boot camp. I was like, okay, now that I did this, I can read anybody, anywhere, anytime. It was hundreds of people in a weekend. And so
the gays love a read.
And the energy
Trust.
too, like the
They do.
energy that
Yes.
you have to expel. Like I feel exhausted after doing readings for like 5 people.
yeah.
I'm just like emotionally and mentally depleted.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just tuck into myself
Yeah.
for time. I remember when I was like compulsively doing readings for myself after a really bad breakup. And I remember getting I want to say it's the 3 of swords.
The heartbreak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
And you're like, yeah, I know I'm sad.
And the 4,
Thank you.
Yeah.
the 4
Thanks
of
for the
Pentacles,
reminder.
Yeah.
which I was like,
Guard yourself.
The moment that I saw 4 of Pentacles coming up all the time, I was like, this is, for me, that is my trigger card, that you are obsessively trying to take ownership of the things around you because you're afraid it's going to be
like trying to
lost.
control everything around you.
And so I know when I'm in a bad space, that card is like there, and I know that something needs to change.
And like maybe I shouldn't be doing a reading right now because I'm in
Exactly.
such a bad. And it's that reminder card that says, "Honey, step away from the deck." I
Yes.
have those cards too that come up that are like, you're asking too many questions and you're pissing me off. Leave me alone. My
Yes.
deck is seriously like, I'm tired. But going back to like being tired from these things, I think that being a bartender has prepared me for doing these like excessive amounts of readings. When I work at like King of Cups, for example, I do 50 plus readings in a night, back to back to back to back to back.
I can.
And I think being a bartender, having those conversations with people, having to, and so like you
Well,
have
also
to have
being accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being
You
know,
open, accessible,
exactly, yeah.
and then being able to get rid of that when you leave is super
do
important.
you do the wipes?
Yeah, so I
have to do it before sleeping.
I do the wipes. So where you take your hand and you just kind of like intentionally wipe off the stagnant energy that's clinging to you. Do your
I
hair,
start head,
yeah,
and then I work my way all the
It's
way down.
amazing.
And it makes me feel. I just like doing
I
the
need
motion
to
just now made
start
it happen.
Yeah.
doing that
And another
after
one-
like a conversation that I don't like.
It's amazing. And another one is where I will clap my hands together, open them like a book. And
I've
just
never tried that.
Blow it out, and I just like get the tingles. Like I just feel renewed, and it's like I just let go of that. And whether
I
it's
wanna give that a
subconscious, whether it's conscious, it doesn't really matter how it works. It matters that it works.
Yeah.
Well, because also there's control involved.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Taking control
And
yes,
intentionality.
of that, like
yes.
energy, transmission. It's really interesting. But yeah, I think like the bartending and the working in high volume, fast paced environments where people are talking to you and they're asking questions and you need to anticipate their needs, which is a form of empathy. Like that all comes into tarot and makes it so I am able to make a connection with someone immediately and feel what they need from me, why
Yes.
they're here, and I'm able to get to the nitty gritty of the situation of why are they sitting in front of me today? A lot of people want to know what's coming for them in the future. Some people want advice. Some people aren't sure why they're there, but something feels off, or it's just for fun and they're curious. It doesn't matter. We will, like the cards will tell you, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
And I always tell people I am not a psychic.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
I am a messenger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here to give you a message and I'm here to decipher what the message is trying to say to you. I do have my moments of like maybe slight clairvoyance when I know something's going to happen, or I have a weird dream that
If I
comes
remember
true,
my
but
dream,
it's like,
it's clairvoyance.
yeah.
If I wake up the next day and the memory is still in my brain, it's over
Oh.
for the rest of the. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I
That's
have to
wild.
remember this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It happened
That's cool.
like 6 months before my dad passed away. I had a dream of the exact night. And it was like random. It was like I woke up and I was like, I want some ice cream. And I was like secretly eating my sister's mint chocolate chip ice cream. And I remember in the dream here, and the kitchen was under renovation in the dream, but it wasn't
At
when
the
I
time.
had the dream.
Yeah. So
And-
you knew what time period this...
Exactly. And I remember waking up that night and going downstairs and eating the ice cream out of the fridge. And I can hear my sister on the phone, but I didn't want her to know that I was awake because I was eating her ice cream.
Yeah.
And I went back upstairs, and the next morning when I woke up, she was like, Daddy died last night. And I remember like, from that moment on, anytime I had a dream that I remembered, I like acted on it in
Yeah.
some way. And the same thing happened when my friend Jacob passed away. I woke up that morning and I had this weird dream about my ex and a light, like this blinding light. And I was like, I just don't understand like what this is. I haven't spoken to her in months. And when I like made up some bullshit excuse to like communicate with her.
Yeah.
And later that day I found out that like he had passed away and had been in the apartment for 3 days before she realized it, because they were on different schedules. And the light was because his light was on in the bedroom, and she just assumed he was like in
hanging
there.
out in
Oh
there.
my
Yeah.
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 And so like now anytime I remember a dream, I immediately am like, okay, like
Yeah.
this is
I need
a
to pay
precursor
attention.
for something.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's sort of
intense.
why I like listen to my gut, because I'm like, okay, it's like you're trying to tell me something.
Yeah, and it's had like real world examples of it being true. Then
So I'm
you're
just
like,
like-
okay.
I'm on it.
I'm really glad my dreams are not premonitions because they're fucking nuts. They're just, they don't make any
It's
sense.
rare when it happens. I will go on record and say it's very rare when it's happening.
Yeah, but
it's something that has always been very impactful when it happens.
Well, and that's like, you can't quantify or qualify that kind of stuff. Like science cannot touch it. And that's what people really struggle with, is that they cannot touch ESP, extrasensory perception. They can't touch clairvoyance because it's unmeasurable. And I truly believe humans are not allowed to measure that sort of thing. It is beyond our reach for a reason. But, we find out something new in the science world every day. You never know.
I mean, that's
Damn right.
facts. So I really I just, because there's so much like nuance,
Yeah.
and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I really want to make sure, because we are coming up on time soon. Sorry,
Spicy
Reba.
time. You know what?
I-
You didn't lie when you said that we would vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you.
It's true.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
an Aries too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Sag, Aries.
Yeah,
Match
yeah.
Aquarius as well.
Exactly. So it's
A
a whole
trifecta.
exactly.
Yes.
I love it.
So I mean, there's power here.
There is.
Okay.
The sass
Yes.
is real.
Feel it.
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that I definitely want to make sure that we touch upon within appropriate depth is the journey of sobriety traditionally feels extremely, lonesome, or it can. And I've actually been really inspired by you, but then also I'm really, really inspired by the sobriety journey that you have alongside your partner.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it.
Yes.
And thanks for saying that, because that it makes it feel like it's truly worth it if we're inspiring other people to go down the same path.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend Sean and I have been together for 4 years.
Hi, Sean.
We live together. Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
He's my babe.
Yeah.
He's hot and cool and fun. So he is a bartender at a 4 a.m. bar here in Chicago. He's also
Sometimes a 5 a.m. bar.
Yep, 5 a.m. on Saturdays. And he is also the assistant general manager. So he bartends and manages. And so in February of this year, we had just a really bad night out and a bad night in afterwards. And the next morning he's like,
And really quickly, are you able to define what bad is in
Yeah.
that regard, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, sure. So we just I got really drunk and went, and like he had an art show the night before, and he was cleaning up the art show and like going home, and I was like, I'll meet you there, but I want to go out with my brother and some friends first and get another beer and a shot at another bar. And then I think I like left my phone somewhere, or like it was off. I don't know. And he was trying to contact me, or I was playing pool or something. And then I saw I had all these missed calls from him. And I'm like, oh, great. You know, my boyfriend's pissed that I'm out. This sucks. I want to hang out with my friends. And he's like, dude, where are you? Like, this is after my art show. I want to like hang out with you now. Yeah. So I went home and we just got in an argument, and it was just like really chaotic and drunk, you know, where it like doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's just like little children screaming at each other. And it was just like not fun. It was not cute. It went way too late in the night. And we barely got any sleep. And the next morning, he's like,
it's like unnecessary.
I can't fucking
grudges
do this.
being held,
Like,
yeah.
yes. He's like, I don't want to drink anymore. And I was like, cool. I've taken a month off multiple times. I've been waiting for you to say this because I don't know if I could be sober if you're still drinking at the rate that you're drinking at.
Yeah.
Because we definitely enabled each other. We have a dry bar, like a vintage dry bar in our apartment, where it was so easy to just be like, let's take a shot. Let's take a shot. Let's make a drink. Let's have a beer at 11 in the morning. We have a whole fucking bar here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let's do this. And we decided to do it together. And a lot of people assume that I made him become sober. And that's very sexist, first of all.
Absolutely.
That I'm just nagging and I'm trying to put these restraints on my significant other because I'm a woman. No, he brought it up and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I'm in, babe. And so I downloaded this app, I Am Sober. Because I kept seeing people who are sober post these little updates like, look how much money I've saved.
Yes.
Look at this. And I was like, what app is that?
I did that for
I reached
cigarettes.
out to and I reached out to a friend. They're like, it's called I Am Sober. So I paid for the premium membership for 1 month. It's like at max $15 for that 1 month. I think it's absolutely necessary to have that premium version of the app if you can do it. And if you can't, there's a lot of other resources online, on Instagram. Like there's a lot of sober communities. You just have to do a little searching.
Yeah.
But this app is kind of like there's a social media aspect. So you get grouped with people that are at the same point in their journey as you are. And you're able to talk with them, but it's not
it's like it makes it like a group.
yeah, and
project
it's literally
almost.
like thousands of people. So you just post like, today is one day I'm feeling kind of crazy, but I'm out here having a cigarette with my dog. And then, you know, someone from Nebraska who's in his 50s is like, hey, me too. This is crazy. It feels weird. I feel like I don't know what to do with myself. And then someone else chimes
There's community
in.
there.
Yeah, and there's support, but also it has like these great quotes from like Marcus Aurelius and like just Gandhi or Buddha and Shakespearean quotes that just help you like get through the day. And I know it sounds kind of lame, like live, laugh, love, but some of these were pretty profound. And I was like, I've never even heard of this person. And that's tight. So we, so Sean and I, he got the app too. I was more vocal about becoming sober because that helped me stay accountable. He doesn't feel the need to do that. He can stay accountable without that. And, you know, I'm very extroverted. He's very introverted. So it makes sense. You're going to freak out. We have the same, almost exactly the same star chart. So I was manifesting my quote unquote twin flame for a long time. But I didn't know what the term meant. And I was just kind of like, but I knew that the universe knew that I didn't mean like a challenging twin flame. I just meant like someone that's my other half. So he's a Sagittarius, Sun, Cancer, Rising, Capricorn, Moon, Scorpio, Venus, Sagittarius, Mercury, Sagittarius, Mars. The only differences are North and South nodes. So what we need to focus on in this lifetime and what our goals are and what we need to avoid are slightly different.
Yeah.
But we're very different people, but very similar upbringings. Yeah, it's weird. And I didn't look at his star chart until like a year and a half into dating because I didn't care because I was in love.
Listen, I was in a whole relationship with someone who did not want to give me his date of birth.
Boo.
And then afterwards,
Loser. No, I'm just kidding.
but then afterwards he did, and I realized that we were opposite.
Yeah.
Like elemental signs and everything.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
but except his Aries, his moon was Aries and his Venus was in Aries.
Okay.
And I felt like that was the trigger for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, you think the way that I act and you love the way that I want to love. And I'm out here just being a fucking Pisces Venus.
Yeah.
Which means that when you're a water sign Venus, I feel like it makes you very vulnerable in relationships. Because you want to give. And you can't like take it. You can't like take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
So that was like a real struggle.
It's hard with the water Venus. I feel I've been
It's
in a
my
lot,
downfall.
I've been in a lot of abusive relationships, unfortunately, until a few years ago. And then I was in another one that was the worst one. And then I got out of it again. But that Scorpio Venus.
It's hard to protect yourself.
Yeah. And like really wanting to fix others and like seeing the dark side of them and being like, I love you anyway. And then almost like encouraging the dark side to come out of people. Like, you can really be you around me. I accept you as you are. And then you attract these people that are actually pretty nasty underneath it all. And it's like that the water sign, like Pisces are very dreamy and ethereal, and they have those rose tinted glasses on.
Yes. And I fucking hate that for myself. But what I will say is leaning into the evolved aspects of being an Aries, being a Sagittarius moon, having a Virgo rising. I'm unwilling to go back into that situation in the same way.
Yeah.
And I'm very vocal about it now.
Yeah.
And I would say that it's better for me to say those things now, and also with therapy.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to couples therapy. But I now have like the legs and the foundation to willfully go into a situation with someone who has the opposing elemental signs in every single situation to me. And going back to what you're talking about twin flames, I think I don't want a challenge in a relationship, but I want someone who will challenge me to be better.
Yeah, where it's like worth the, you still want to put in effort.
Listen,
on both sides.
As I'll tell you about my Bob Marley quote tattoo that I got when I was 19.
We're going to figure it out. It's going to be...
But it's essentially, people will always hurt you. The question is, who is worth the pain? And I feel like that has been my downfall when it comes to familial relationships. And it is okay to divorce your family.
Yeah.
It is okay to set boundaries with your friends.
You can choose. You have a choice.
Exactly.
You most certainly
You
can.
have a choice who you let around you into
And
your
absorb
life,
your energy,
into
and
your
share
energy
that
field.
with. Yes.
Yep. You can choose if someone is hurting you or just making you feel bad in a consistent way, and they're
Do not
not
need to put up with that.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Bye. No contact.
This is feel good era.
So, we're
I wanted to.
we're at time. but yeah,
I was going to say I
time.
wanted to talk about the 4 a.m. bar stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
go
it.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
of course.
so all I want to say is that I don't think they should exist. I don't think
Preach.
anything good happens after 2 a.m. And it just
And definitely nothing fucking good happens after fucking 4 a.m.
or
And,
5. Like why?
I'm like a midnight bitch these days. I'm
Same.
like, I turn into a pumpkin way before fucking midnight.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done.
I'm done.
Bing bong. It's midnight. I'm done.
Fuck your life.
Bing bong. Fuck your life.
Yes.
That's literally what happens when the clock strikes 4. Fuck your life. Nothing good happens. You are not going to have a profound moment
No.
at that time or make a profound connection. If
No.
anything, you are much more likely to have something terrible happen to
Absolutely.
you. So maybe just fucking don't.
Go home.
Go home. Go to
Yeah.
bed. You know, that last shot, you
Also-
don't need it.
Also, let's really take a moment to highlight the value of sobriety during those times.
Because
And that's powerful in and of itself. Absolutely.
it's great,
because
yeah.
because everyone is shit wrecked. Bartenders, managers, servers. It's just because no one actually wants to be there, but they're there
No,
because,
that's
because
the only
it's
perk
transactional.
of the only
Yeah.
perk of working that late is that you usually get to drink at those jobs.
Yeah.
And like now that my boyfriend doesn't, whew,
Listen,
Right.
for the first...
it is hard.
I mean, there's a safety element there. Like, I mean,
yeah. There's like every single night there's some fucked up bullshit and it makes me scared for my boyfriend because I know what these drunk assholes are doing in the wee hours of the night, being like menaces to society. You know, it sucks. And it's not fun. It's not fucking cute.
No.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. It's ugly.
It's like the first 2 weeks of this month, I just like wasn't drinking. And it was like 50% intentional, 50% not. But the culture at my job right now, because I've only been bartending for 1 year. Someone was like, oh my God, you've only been doing this for 1 year. I was like, I went to school for like basically therapy. So I get why you would think I've been doing this longer. But I switched over to doing shots of like an NA spiced whiskey with Red Bull
But
instead
also,
of
we
Malort
should
and Red Bull.
still unpack that, though.
Yeah.
It was the
the-
camaraderie aspect of it.
Exactly.
Which is
and
like...
and that is such
I
an
was doing ginger
ingrained-
syrup and
but
lime
that's
juice
such an
shots.
ingrained element
Yeah.
of bartending culture. I mean, it's
That's why working at ABBA has helped me
Yeah.
because there's a zero tolerance policy for drinking.
Yes.
It's not encouraged. And if it is happening, I don't know. It's not in the open. It's not out in the open.
Right.
And it's a restaurant. It closes at an appropriate hour. It's not 2 a.m.
debatable.
Yeah, agreed.
Go on, yeah.
But it's not in the middle of the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can still
It's
like
at the top of the night.
yeah, the top of the evening.
Yeah.
Top of the evening.
Top of the evening.
Too, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so that like I had to change my environment because I was at Victor Bar in Love Street and we were working 12 to 13-hour shifts every single day.
Not
and
ugly.
I love those
perk,
places.
but the perk of the job was that you could drink there and you could drink as much as you want. You could drink with guests.
Well,
and
that's dangerous.
I had a great community there. I felt very appreciated by my guests and my regulars, and I was killing myself. My body was deteriorating before my eyes, and I decided I needed to leave that life of working at it was open till 3 a.m. on Saturdays. I needed to leave the cocktail bar life and go to a restaurant so I could take care of my body. And that was before I quit drinking. I still knew I needed to separate myself from that because the pendulum swung too far one way and it needed to come back. And so change, I promised myself I wouldn't work in a restaurant. There's too many moving pieces. There's too many ways to piss guests off.
Yeah.
There's too many to piss. There's just more people to piss off, you know?
right.
And
like internally, externally.
yes,
Yeah,
it's just a
way-
lot.
yeah.
And so I was like mad at myself. I was
Once
like,
you get food
am
involved,
I letting
it's wild.
it's a whole nother fucking beast.
I love it.
And so
But it is bad for me.
Yeah. And like I love it too. I love food. I love selling food. I love, feeding people. And it's part of who I am. But
That's why you're in school for psychology now.
now I'm going to feed people mental health. No.
Yes. You know, feed them
Shove it down
some
your throat.
knowledge. Feed them some knowledge.
Yeah, or at least some like
You know?
good coping skills or ways to like just different ways to look at the world and, you know, build a new perspective. But yeah, being in a restaurant has been really good for my mental health now.
That
'Cause
is
it's
a
safe
wild
space.
statement.
I know.
But
And
like,
it's not
crazy that
the
it's real.
best place I could be.
Yes.
But I
It's
think
the best
better
place that you could be for
right now.
you
for right now while I'm
Yeah.
in school, while I'm doing tarot, while I'm only working 4 days a week. I get my 3 days off to do my school stuff and my tarot stuff. Yeah. And so the balance is there where it was not there when I was at a bar.
Yeah.
And like with my boyfriend, the work-life balance is non-existent. It's very one-sided.
Yeah.
And that's because he works at a really crazy 4 a.m., 5 a.m. bar.
I've also, so many people have been like, let's go there. And I'm like,
No.
I cannot. I've never been there. But
No.
and it's like walking distance from my best friend's
Yeah.
place.
No.
And every time someone's like, after going to wherever else, they're like, let's go here. I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's the same version of that is the Oasis in
Yeah.
Rogers Park. If you want to listen to Akon
Yeah.
and find random drugs at 3:00 in the morning, they're
Nuh-uh.
open till 5.
Yeah. And
Nope.
like that.
I'm not saying that as like, go do that thing. I'm saying that is the energy that has been giving since the day that it
Yeah.
opened.
No,
It's a
to
dive.
now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
yeah.
dive bar.
But, you know, it could be applied to any dive bar.
Yeah.
Any,
You know,
yeah,
yeah.
and like there are 4 a.m.s. Like let's,
That's where those attorneys come in.
Oh yeah, they're
Because
gonna be like, not
immediately
a.
going to be like, no.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say.
That's why I didn't
like,
say that.
yeah.
But I mean, like,
But we know.
yeah,
Right.
We know.
Yeah, it's definitely,
It's
if
a
you know,
staple.
you know. Yes.
In Chicago, which like good for them.
Yeah.
You know.
So, as you know, we have
exceeded time.
we have come up on time. Jamie, friend to friend, homie to homie. I just want to officially say on the record how fucking proud I am of you.
Oh, thank you.
Honestly,
thank you.
like so good.
that
so
makes
good.
that makes me feel really good.
So good.
I appreciate
So
that.
good.
It's been a journey, and you've been there since
Yeah,
I became sober.
Yeah, you know,
Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's been beautiful to witness,
Thanks.
you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I really feel as if you've gotten stronger while also still being you, if that makes sense. Like it feels
Yeah.
more like enriching.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
definitely have become more comfortable being my like goofy, silly,
Yeah.
outspoken self
Yeah.
without alcohol, because I really thought that maybe that would just go away when I stopped drinking, but I'm still
But that's just
I'm
who
still
you
a
are.
maniac.
Yeah, that's
I'm still singing and dancing around, and like that's who I am, and it feels good to find myself and not have anything else be influencing how I act.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's sobering.
Oh, okay.
the dad jokes again.
Bada bing.
Ba-doom.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Same page. And wow. Okay.
Snort laugh.
I love it. Love
Snort
it.
night's a good night, my
Love
book.
it.
Hooey.
I love it. And so, before I do the things that we know to do, Jamie, how was your time with us?
It was
Like that.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
it was fantastic. Thank you guys for having me. I love just hearing about like how you view the world and your experiences that have shaped you, and then also just being able to talk about, you know, tarot and astrology is just really fun. But being able to be in a space with fellow industry people who are also thinking about the big picture, not just like what's in front of you, is really refreshing. So like, thank you so much.
Oh.
I appreciate it. You guys are wonderful.
Oh my God.
Like,
I want to dive over the boot.
Oh
Way.
Stop. And so
How can we find? How can the homies out on the internet find you?
so
if you want to be found.
Yeah. that
yeah,
part.
my tarot. I'll give out my tarot Instagram.
Yes.
My other one's not necessary. So Jamie, Jamie Chambers, Chambers, tarot, Tarot.
I like it.
So Jamie Chambers Tarot is my Instagram. I am at Sideshow Gallery on Western and Fullerton, basically in Logan Square, every other Sunday, doing tarot readings from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We take walk-ins, or you can just DM me on my tarot Instagram and make an appointment. I have all my services and prices posted. And so I will be there whenever. Just DM me, because when this comes out, I don't know what Sunday, whatever.
Exactly.
So just DM me. We'll talk. So I'll be there doing my tarot stuff. And I also do Zoom. I've figured out how to do that well. Do Zoom tarot. I do special events, parties. I have a lot of experience with big groups of people and how to manage that while doing tarot readings. So I'm your gal. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm doing a lot of bachelorette parties coming up, Christmas parties. And it's just always really fun. I do my tarot readings with humor and compassion. So don't worry. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't need to hear. So I'm not going to be like, you're going to die in 7 days.
You already know.
Or that. Yes. So like, yeah, don't be scared. The media makes tarot look real stupid. But give it a chance.
Yeah.
You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, bitch.
I don't know. I think season 4 just has me more emotional than usual. But anyhow,
The full moon is in a day. So
It
there's
is.
that.
Listen.
I was walking home last night and thought I was going to die.
Okay.
It's crazy.
They're out here talking about the full moon, but we're at time, so I can't even talk about it right now.
I almost
it's
started
just like it's
singing
one-
Brandy's Full Moon, but we don't have the rights or the money for that, so I stopped myself.
But you still bought it out, though.
Yes.
So I was like, there.
The attorneys, they got work to do.
Yes, I was like, they're gonna
Sorry.
be all over this. So, as always, thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us, and also joining the TOS fam.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You know,
I'm
it's just
really
you're a
honored to
part-
be here.
Yeah, you're a part of a very significant group
Yeah.
of diversified perspectives throughout the industry, and it is truly our honor. You know, so
I'm honored. Thank you so much. It's been a
they're gonna
privilege.
share
It's been
the
a
honor.
privilege.
We're gonna share the honor, 50%, 50%.
I love it.
So I'm just like, there we go. So
Tender.
Yeah.
with that, an absolute resounding thank you to Blind Barber Chicago for hosting this necessary conversation.
Word.
Also, on top of that, our good friends at No and Low for supplying the beverages of this episode. And
Yes.
so, yet again, we are enjoying the No and Low Sparkling Rosé. And No and Low is a community-driven company that imports and makes premium non-alcoholic beverages. No and Low has been recognized as experts in the non-alcoholic space, with features in the New York Times and named a 2022 Food and Wine Game Changer. And I want to remind people right now how important it is to take stock of yourself and your journey wherever you are in order to be mindful of it.
Yes.
And that is not to say that you need to go this way or the other way, but you should always be conscious of things that are readily available if you so need.
Yes.
And I also...
Wait, before you separate from No and Low,
Yes.
Hannah was saying that the process that they use is the same as making regular like wine, and then they burn off the alcohol afterwards. That's
Steam
why
it off.
steam
Yes.
it off, sorry, which is why it tastes
like
the way
wine.
that it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is something that is missing from a lot of these beverages
Yes.
that are out there. That's mostly just a fancy soda. This drinks like a sparkling
Rosé. Yeah, it does.
And for those that know me,
You rosé bitch.
know me.
Rosé
So
all day.
I was like, absolutely co-signed.
Yes.
And
please.
Money, please.
Rosé now, okay?
Rosé now.
Actually, right now. And so I will continue to end this on a note of supreme gratitude. This will be dropping in the thick of the holiday season. And
nope.
so I can't thank you, Nariba, enough. Max, Marcus, Dason, Rick, Alex, Cortez, Tancho, literally
Tancho.
everyone. Heather, thank you so very much. Yeah, I just want all of us to be more conscious of the energy that we put out, but most importantly, the energy that we allow ourselves to receive.
Yes.
So, on that note, I am Justin Arnett Graham, and you can find me on Instagram at This Is Biko.
And my name is Nariba Shepherd. You can find me on Instagram at Ribaru, Rebaru. And I hope that you are keeping yourself safe in between Christmas and New Year's.